Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Adobe Art Maxing, the only game show on Adobe. I'm pretty sure. I'm thinking we're the only one at this point. Today's going to be a really exciting episode. I'm super stoked, and you should be too. It's a new morning. It's a new day. It's going to be a blast, and we have Shay, SMW all day on the show. Welcome to the show, Shay.
Hey.
I think today is going to be so much fun. For people that may not know you, do you want to kind of give them a rundown of who you are?
Yes, of course. Hey everyone, I'm Shay Wallace, but you can call me Shay. I'm a digital collage artist and I specialize in creating collages in Photoshop. I'm also a photographer, graphic designer. I do a lot of different things, but mainly collage.
All around talent, all around individual that just loves creating. And I love that about you. We, to pull the curtain back, we met probably about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago at this point, through Adobe, which is really, really cool. So it's like kind of cool to have it full circle, have you on my show, have you hanging out with me
Yes.
today. It's going to be a ton of fun. If you guys aren't familiar with Art Maxing, this is a game show all about earning points just by doing the things that you love. All the guests have secret objectives, which I'll go ahead and pop up on the screen now that they cannot see, that they will earn while they are designing during our design segment. They can also earn points from having a good time, answering questions involving themselves, and a lot more. And you'll know that they'll get a point when you hear this sound and see that one. If you missed out on last week's episode, you'll probably notice that this format is going to be a little bit different because we have mini games, which I think is super sweet. So it's going to be broken up a little bit more, a little more fun. And for those joining us already, Dopegasm, Frank, Penny Doodles, Ayub, thank you for spending your morning or afternoon with us. But enough with the intros. Shay, are you ready for our first segment?
I am ready.
Amazing, amazing. So our first segment today is going to be called Command Z. It is pretty much a section where I am going to give you and the audience a shortcut. This one, luckily, is for Photoshop. And you just have to tell me what it does. Easy as that. So, our shortcut for today is Command 7 in Photoshop.
7.
And you can ask for hints. Anyone in the chat, if you want to throw it out there, maybe help Shay out a little bit.
Does it have to do with the screen?
Be more specific.
Does it have to do with the size of the screen?
It does not.
No, okay. Command 7.
So, let me think. Okay, here's a good hint. So during 2020, we had a pandemic, of course, right? And in order to protect ourselves from that pandemic, we had to wear something. So
Masking.
that is, you know what? I'll give it to you. It's creating a mask. So you got it. You nailed it. Yeah. So that's a point on the board. I have Monica in chat saying, sorry, I can't help with Photoshop. That's fair. That's why we're learning together today. That's why this segment's up here. Yeah, you got it. You nailed it, honestly. Yeah, it's for creating a clipping mask, which I think is kind of useful because especially for this show, I use a lot of clipping masks. Got to fit us into the frames. It's kind of fun, kind of cool. But yeah, I hope you guys learned something new. That's kind of a fun little trick there. And you're on the board. And I think we're ready to just like move right into our next segment, which is art is my passion, which is you drawing, of course. And we had a little bit of a objective or like a main objective for you for this art prompt, which I can go ahead and read off if you're ready for that as well.
Yes, I'm ready.
Sweet. So we're moving into segment 2. Art is my passion. Your prompt is to, I'm going to switch over to us, create a pattern texture using Photoshop. I'm going to go ahead and throw 30 minutes up on the timer, and then we can just hop right into it, and you can kind of let us know how your workflow goes. Are you ready to go?
Yes, I'm ready.
Sweet. All right. Three, two, one. Timer is on. So walk us through it, Shay.
Okay. So I'm going to show you guys one way you can create a texture. This is the random yellow I have.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, we're going to use the filters
Oh.
because I like the filters.
I messed around with
Um,
filters when I first started with Photoshop, specifically the stamp filter. I loved the stamp filter
oh,
so much.
yeah. So I
Ooh,
like this because there's so many ways I can zoom in maybe a little bit more. I fit in, let's fit in view. Okay, fit in screen.
yeah.
There we go.
Ooh, that's cool.
And this is a typical grain. So for those people who love grain like me, when you finish a piece, you're like, I need some grain, need some noise.
Yeah.
You can use actual grain
Slap some
and you
grain
can
on it.
like enlarge it. You can verticalize it,
Oh, that's crazy.
speckle, speckle. It's there. But you can also intensify it. You can intensify it to make it a little bit more. One of my favorites, I believe it's the I don't think it's mosaic tile. There's many. Oh, here's stylized. Like I have
Glowing
nothing here to
edges.
see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
That's
but
so
it's
cool.
a lot of different ones.
How did you
You can
learn how to
distort
do this
it.
stuff? Like, how did you get into
Um,
this?
Honestly, I just learned, I was self-taught. I did take a graphic design class my junior year, but the stuff we learned was kind of like basic things. But I
Mm-hmm.
used to do a lot of, all of my photo editing collages were off my phone. So when I went into Photoshop finally, I kind of just saw the tools I used to use on apps and was like,
Yeah.
okay, I know how to do this, I know how to do this. And then a lot of what I'm doing right now, clicking and just experimenting and seeing where it takes me.
Wait, that's crazy though. So you started on your phone and then you moved into
Yeah.
Photoshop. Wait, so when did you make that switch? Like when and I know you said that it
Um,
was kind of like an easy transition, but like was it? Like did you still have to
so
learn a lot?
Yeah, I started collaging when I was 14 on my phone, and then by the time I think I was graduating high school is when I bought my first laptop, and then that's when I got my first subscription to Photoshop, and I was like,
Nice.
all right, let's do it. But I did use the computer at school to really learn, and
Yeah.
it was definitely stressful. Like I was definitely slower. Like some pieces would take me a good month to finish compared to now.
Yeah. Yeah, that is absolutely fair. I mean, that's crazy though. Like I feel like that's got to be a bit of an accessibility bump, right? Like being able to say like, "Oh yeah, I didn't start with the highest level program." I mean, thankfully now I think we're in a day and age where like Adobe Express exists and like, I
Yeah.
think they made a huge update to Photoshop on phone. So like there are definitely ways to make it a little easier, but I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
curious in the chat, anyone, if you want to drop in, what started you on design? If you started with design, either on your phone or on your computer or watching Adobe Lives. Let us know. We have Dope Gasman chats already saying that they love this. I do too. I'm a big grain
Okay.
guy, and this is
Me
giving
too.
textured wall. I like it.
Another way to do it. Here's another yellow. I don't know why I have yellows, but I do know why I have yellows
Yeah,
for
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
going to show you guys up here. But for this one, instead of doing the actual like filter gallery,
mm-hmm.
you can just go here and there's more stuff. So I
Oh,
typically use noise because there's two options.
oh,
You have the monochromatic and then you also have like the noise with the colors. So if you get that like that
oh, I
TV type, it's like
like
this.
that.
But you also have monochromatic, which is what I use a lot, and it's like black and white mixed with the
Yeah.
color.
I'm a big fan of this. It has this like what's the word? We were using this word last week. Tactile's not the right word, but it's
Mm.
more like real. It makes it look more real, like real life, I
Yeah,
guess. There's a word for it, and it's totally escaped me. I have Monica in chat saying my biggest regret is not knowing my high school had a Photoshop class. I feel that. I feel that.
so I think junior year is when they decided they wanted to do a graphic design class, and that's
Mm,
what but I think a lot of students were interested, which is why my senior year they added us a second class. So that's kind of how
That's
I got into graphic design.
That's some good timing, junior, senior year. I mean, right before you're trying
Yeah.
to figure out what you're doing. Delicate type, Paulina in chat, person that's been on the show, thanks for popping by, said, kind of same. I used to picnic in elementary school on my laptop. That's crazy. And then apps like PixArt on my
Picnic.
phone and other random apps I would find in the App Store. Then I took a multimedia class in high school and learned Photoshop. Yes. I also took a Photoshop class in high. Well, that's a lie. I took an Excel class in high school, and they offered like Photoshop on the side. Like we had the full suite of like
Okay.
Microsoft and Adobe, which was really nice. And really, really fun. Barbara also in chat. I had a whole different career before I decided to finish college in graphic designs, etc. That's cool. Career
Yeah.
switch up. That's fun. So we've got a skull here. That things have
Yes.
changed.
So
Okay.
this is like the original, and then I have some layers, but I enhanced the
Nice.
layers. And
Yeah,
you
this
guys
is
see how
cool.
it's already textured?
Mm-hmm.
Another way for me to enhance textures. This is my personal favorite thing I've been doing for the past, I want to say the past 2 years I've been doing this. So for y'all who want to, you can steal it. Don't, it's okay. You can steal it.
Take it.
You guys can use the sharpen tool, but you can either do sharpen or sharpen more. I love to do sharpen more, especially for like to enhance textures like this.
Mm-hmm.
So just watch it, you guys, just watch it. You see how I did that?
Whoa. That's sick. It
Yeah.
looks like a stamp. And now it looks more stamp-like. That's
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
Nice. Wait, so and you probably
I
use
love
this
it.
for because like for people that may not know, you do collage work, but I'm assuming you probably use this technique a lot with photos as well too, like photos you've taken or things like that too, right?
Yeah, it's like photos and also like with the noise, I love to do that as well. I just something
Mm-hmm.
about adding grain to your
Yeah,
pieces in photos
gives it a
just
little
gives it that
more
good quality.
gives a little more zhuzh. We actually have a comment over here on Behance. Thanks for the individuals watching on Behance. Dopegasm says self-taught Photoshop at age 9. My mom got it for me to design MySpace for my friends, and I started to sell edited photo bucket pics. That's sick. Thanks, mom. Yeah, thank you, mom, for enabling our
Yeah.
artist careers. That's so cool.
Shout out to mom
I
because
have a
that's awesome.
very embarrassing story about MySpace. If you want to hear it, it's crazy. It's gonna
I
date
do
me
want to hear it.
hard, hard. Sorry for everyone that's holding their backs or their shoulders right now, but um, what I did was when I um was in middle school, I signed up for MySpace. And the next day, it got sold. The next day, it literally went down. Like, no
You were the
joke.
last of the last of the
Literally.
new
And
ones.
I never got to experience it. We have a comment in chat asking if we can
Wow.
see the layers panel. That's on me, not on you, Shay. So I'll go ahead and adjust us real quick. But I see that we're adding some color to our design now, too, right?
Yes. I have so for those who don't know how I get these colors, I just create a new layer and then you click G. I know my shortcuts. You click G
Oh,
and G
yeah.
is the bucket tool. So you can just pick any color you want. So I just did red, but we can do like a blue to show you guys. And then you just click G and there you go. It's the whole entire
Oh, I
thing.
love that
So
blue. That's so
so
cool.
without the skull, it's like, yeah. I just got an idea. Like 3D
Oh,
glasses.
I love that. I love this. I know exactly what you're about to do. This is cool. Also, Monica in chat saying MySpace was sold. Does this not exist anymore? It doesn't. It's gone.
Yeah, a lot of things don't exist
I
anymore,
know. It's so
unfortunately.
sad. Vine, rest in peace.
Yeah, oh my goodness. That was one of the best apps ever created. I don't
Truly, like
understand.
TikTok's fine,
Yeah.
but
But like to be funny in 6 seconds, it was
yeah,
just you knew you were funny.
absolutely. Dopegasm saying, "Oh no, you missed a really amazing era, Jacob." Yeah, I feel like I did. Unfortunately, Josie, welcome to the show. Thanks for popping by over on Behance. And Sean said thank you for adjusting. Hopefully this makes a bit more sense with these layers. Apologize for that in advance. We're rounding out at about 20 minutes, so you're only about 10 minutes in, and I feel like we're already doing so much. Do you want to kind of take us through uh how we're building off of this design now? I kind of been like pulling back from the chat and stuff, and we've made a lot of progress.
Yes. So I have this skull here, and I was like, what can I do to make the skull more Shay aesthetic? Like what
Yeah.
can I do? And I've been really experimenting with textures. And what I have up here, I have like this skull right here, but this is the main skull. And there's like this background, and that's why I use this yellow. And I have these cool textures right here. I can just one by one, I can show you guys. So there's like this gray texture. It's like a pink paper texture, a blue paper texture,
Hmm.
some linen, and then bright. But this is the main one I want to show you guys. Could you guys guess what this is?
Yeah, in chat, guess what this is?
Guess what
Oh,
texture this is
someone
from?
someone in chat said Shaythetic, like aesthetic. That's funny.
Yeah, Shea aesthetic. Yeah,
That's so
that's
sweet.
what I call it.
I kind of want to guess. I don't know. Anybody in
Yeah,
chat?
go ahead.
Oh Lord. Looks like a carpet or like carpet of like a what do you call it? Laser tag. That's my guess.
Um, that's
Yeah.
not it.
I don't know. I don't know. It looks like people in chat might be stumped too. What is it?
Really? Okay. It is actually a texture that I found, and it was from a mail envelope.
Oh. So you like
Yeah.
scanned it or like sourced it?
Yeah, I sourced it, yeah. So
That's
I saw
sick.
it and I was like, huh, because this is the what it looks like originally. It's just this. But I zoomed in all the way
Oh, that's
and
crazy.
then I overlaid it and I realized I can do so many different overlays. But I love the blue so much. So
Yeah.
that's why I decided to do um a darker color so you can get
Yeah.
the colors.
I love that. Clever in chat. Oh, we had a few guesses actually off the top. Penny said grass. Clever said composition notebook pattern, which is a good guess.
That was a good
And
guess.
Alex said looks like ink and water. Alex Todd, also not only friend of the show, but literally the person that makes this show function, did all the animations for the intro and helped me with the timer and a bunch of other animations. So definitely check him out. He's an amazing guy, helping me with everything. The show would not be functioning without him, literally. But this is cool. I like this reworking of the pattern. Like, I feel like that's crazy. It's like unrecognizable as an envelope pattern,
Yeah.
right? Like,
What I realize is like some of the best patterns I find are not through like if you search textures on any like stock website, it's gonna be
mm-hmm,
actual textures.
mm-hmm,
But I like when I find random things and I make a texture out of those things. Like I see textures now.
nice. I mean that, and that you probably look at the world completely different too. Like, I'm kind of curious because like
Yeah.
as someone that doesn't really work with textures, I work with a lot of flat, um, like flat. What's the word I'm looking for? Vectorized kind of artwork illustrations. Um, where do you source your work from? Like where do you find the textures, and do you do the things like what I see on like TikTok and stuff, where like you have the dude that has like the little mini scanner and just like scans the New York or something?
So a lot of my personal textures, I actually just take pictures of my phone and
Oh,
I just convert them to black and white, which is
oh,
the easy
nice.
way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I've used a lot of my textures in my black and white work in my collages. If you guys like go back like 2 years from now, like 2 years ago, yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll see that. But other than that, I do not have a scanner yet. I don't know why I don't have
Oh,
certain things,
I
but I
mean,
really want to get one this year.
yeah. I mean, listen. If y'all want to
Yeah,
like head over to that shop, the print shop, maybe help Fun Shay get a little scanner. Be kind of cool. A little
yeah.
portable scanner would be so cool. I feel like.
Because I do collage like with magazines. I just it's not my main thing. It's like I do it for fun. I have like
Yeah,
magazines, but it would be kind of cool if I can just rip things out from magazines and then scan them on the actual scanner and then
yeah.
like layer them on top
I
one
mean,
day.
I love that so much. Dope Gasman chat saying the show is bomb. Y'all ate. Thank you, thank you. Also, thank you for popping in. I've noticed you've been popping in for the past couple streams, and I know an hour is a long time to dedicate to one show. And I appreciate everyone that's in chat. Monica, Barbara, Penny, Delicate Type, Alex, Clever, Dopegasm, all of you. You're my regulars. Y'all my go-tos. Appreciate it. So we're adding more texture to this skull I see. What is what is our objective for this? I would say, like, what are we kind of trying to get some like fun funky vibes to it? Do you have a vision?
I think my objective is to just to see how I can make an ordinary t skull like very extraordinary, like very unique because I don't work with skulls, but
Mm,
something about this I was really intrigued and was like, this is a cool challenge for me because it's not something I usually do in my work. I don't really
yeah.
use skulls.
You're kind of trying to like
So,
make it make it Shay vibes, you know.
yeah.
That's cool though. I feel like it's nice when you have like a moniker or like something that you're recognized by, um, that allows you to kind of have this aesthetic. I guess it's like your style, right? Like your art style. But it's nice when you can say, "Oh, that looks exactly like Shay's work." Was there any specific point where you feel like you had that like locked in? Like, do you feel like, you're like, "Oh, this is my thing," or is it kind of like ever changing for you?
Um, I have a lot of things, but my main thing, I think that what I became really known for was my floral collages. Like even my
Mm-hmm.
first Adobe Live session when I was in college, I did a floral collage and people were just like, "What?" I'm like, it's just something about double exposures and me and florals.
One
It's
hundred
just
percent. Yeah, I mean, I really love your floral work. I think on the Adobe Live that we went on together in San Francisco, you weren't doing floral work, but you were doing this like silhouette of this guy, and there was like hazy mountains and clouds and things like that. And I thought that was super cool, in my
oh
opinion.
yeah, I do a lot of surreal minimalistic stuff. So I love
Mm,
I don't know, it's something about just it's something with people and kind of putting them in surreal like environments that I just find so fascinating.
absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? I think it's as important as time as ever to go ahead and throw 2 points on the board for you, specifically because you hit some secret objectives that I'm going to count, which one is you use some warm tones in this design. We've got that 3D effect going on. There's some reds in there. So you used a warm tone. That's a point on the board. And also, I would count this as designing without a sketch. You kind of just threw it in there, kind of
Yeah.
going in, having a good time. And I love that about this specific workflow and your workflow in general. I just feel like it's very like loose, and I'm so envious of that. I feel like I draw to try to be perfect, and like that's not what art is about, right? It's frustrating.
I don't ever sketch. My sketches up here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's to my sketches.
It makes it true to form, truly. Vintage Mozart, great name over on YouTube, saying Skull Gang. It said a bunch of skull emojis. I
Yeah.
love that. Truly, we out here.
Yes, bro.
Anybody in chat, if you want to drop down kind of what your creative flow looks like, and do you draw from a sketch? Do you just draw from your head? What is it? You know what? Let's get some crowd participation. Do you think uh our lovely moderator Cody, do you think you can drop a little poll in the chat asking people, do you design with a sketch or do you just dive in with both feet? No sketch. I want to see the general consensus. Do you always draw without a sketch, Shay? You always just kind of go
Yeah,
for it?
for the most part. Yeah, for the most part. It's
No
like I kind of
framework?
like when I look at images, I kind of just see images in my head. Like I can just envision things.
Mm-hmm.
So the kind of the goal for me is to put my image that I have in my head onto my canvas, aka Photoshop. So it's kind
So
of like
you,
a fun challenge.
yeah, you kind of have like a photo. Do you feel like you have a very imaginative brain? Like, are you very photographic in a way?
Yeah, like people may see like a regular sky, but I'll see like a cat in the clouds and just like, wait, what do you why how do you see that? Like you just see it. You
I
just
love
see it.
that. Yeah, you gotta have that the creative brain, which I think is something. While you of course were born with, I also feel like it is something that you can learn, if that makes sense. Like, it's something that you can foster, like fostering your creativity and your childlike whimsy. So I don't know. Do you feel like I'm kind of curious too with like your style, because it's so distinct now, I would say, right? And we talked about kind of like it starting in high school and getting fostered in high school and college, and like, did you start with collage work? Was there a specific style of art that you gravitated towards when you were younger, or was it kind of just like I knew I wanted to do this, or I want to do a million things?
So I think the first thing that really, really caught my eye was I used to draw Pokemon cards like in third grade.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
and I didn't know I was that good until this one boy thought I traced it. But I'm like, how could I trace a little card on an 8.5 by
Yeah,
11 blank piece
yeah,
of paper? So I was like, okay, I'm good. That's all you had to say. You didn't have to, accuse me for tracing.
yeah.
But my main thing when I was younger was photography. Like that was my really like my first love. I really wanted a camera, so I ended up getting a
Mm-hmm.
DSLR, a Nikon. I want to say my senior year, like around that time, junior, senior, year, I got a camera for
Mm-hmm.
Christmas, and I was like, that's all I wanted. I said, I don't care about anything else. I just want a camera. And I am a photographer. Like that's one of my things. I just do it as a hobby, not really as a profession.
Yeah,
I think it's more fun to just take pictures of people I know, like family and friends, than, strangers.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, that's like my first thing. And then at the same time, around like collaging, I used to use my own photos until I discovered like on the apps I use, they had like free resources. So that's when I
Mm-hmm.
got into looking at stock images and then using their photos with my photos.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I think that's so cool. So cool. Also, it looks like Sketch is winning. So maybe you're in the minority here. A lot of people drawing with sketches. I cannot design anything. Anything. I cannot have a creative thought without looking at something. I literally can't. Unless I'm like looking at like my little Smithskis, or I'm like looking at a trading card, or my microphone, or the piece of food that I had that was very pretty. Like I just can't. I can't. My
Like
brain just doesn't function.
if I were to sketch, I would already like even in like Illustrator, if I'm sketching in Illustrator, I just use like for like logos, I'll just use the same font and then I just manipulate the font. Like that's my sketches. Like I just have to
Mm-hmm.
put it out to see it
For like
from my brain.
thumbnails, yeah, absolutely. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Keys joining
Yeah.
in with us a little later. Hey, Keys, welcome to the show over on Behance. Monica, it entirely depends on what I'm designing. If I'm illustrating something from life, I'll probably find some photos to reference it. Also, Monica saying, let the Pokemon stream begin. Ooh, listen, if we get the chance, if we get the chance to do a Pokemon stream, it's happening. Could you imagine like me
Mhm.
running the show and like me running through like a Nuzlocke like with an emulator like while
Right.
while
Oh my
you're drawing to the
goodness.
side? They'd kill me. They would hate me for that. Maybe that'll be like a April Fool's Day episode. Do we land on April Fool's Day? That'd be awesome. Is it the first? We do land on April Fool's Day.
Wow. That's gonna be a good segment of
Ooh.
just April Fools. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that would be very funny. Also, my mom in chat. Whoa, this is amazing. Thanks for popping
Thank
by,
you.
Mom. My biggest supporter, truly. Always appreciated. Well, since I've been yapping, we have gone from a skull that was just a regular photo of a skull to now it looks like this is a pencil sketch on a piece of paper in red colored pencil. This is crazy.
Yeah. It's really the textures. Like all the textures I've been showing are showing different. Like maybe I should do a skull series and then just make multiple versions of this because I
I
cannot
would love
decide
that.
which one I like. Um,
I mean, you
but
could.
from one of my previous,
Sorry, go ahead.
you can go ahead. I would say one of my previous pieces I just posted last week, I think it was called The Empress. This is the same stylization I use, and
Mm-hmm.
so I kind of made my own template.
So cool. I mean, you could also kind of go the I don't know if we're like fans of this guy. I like him. I feel like he was influential. You could do some like Andy Warhol vibes, like the four. Be kind of cool. Maybe some
I've done that
influence.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to love like Andy Warhol. It's something about his work. I just was him, Keith Haring.
Oh,
Like I love
oh,
pop art, so it kind
yes.
of yeah.
I
I've done it.
I love pop art and I love Keith Haring. what a sad story for such a talented man, you know?
Yeah.
Incredibly talented. Do you have any other like influences, or like, I should say not influences, but people that you're like fans of, like in terms of the classics of the art world? Because I feel like that can bleed into
Um,
stuff like this all the time.
well, how I got into surrealism in one of my classes, I think it was my junior year. I can't forget. I can't forget past like yesterday. But like junior or senior year of school, we had this huge packet my teacher gave us, and it had every single page had a different art movement, and we had to do research on all of them.
That's
And it was
so
like
cool.
every single one. It wasn't at the time. It was a lot of work.
That's fair. That's fair.
It
That's
was a
fair.
lot of work. But
100%.
I think I enjoyed it because that's when I found out about like surrealism, and that's what I did, like Salvador Dali,
Oh,
Marguerite, like all of them. And I
oh,
was like, what is this? And I was so intrigued to the point where I was like, how can I do this without painting because I don't paint? And that's when I
yes.
really got into collage. So I was like 14. Like I said, I was like 14.
Yes. Yes.
So
Oh my
I
gosh.
was like,
I love Dali so much. He's one of my favorites for surrealism. He's just such a freak in the best way.
yeah, it's
So
crazy because every
cool.
time you see like his work, some of them look similar, but then there's just like those random ones that no one
Mm-hmm.
knows about. I'm like, he made this too? And I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
It like some of his like he does not soft sculpture, but he does like cardboard sculpture, and it's wild. Like I recently, me and my wife took a trip down to Chicago. I don't know if you've ever been to the Chicago Art Museum. If anyone in chat hasn't, please go. Please. Marguerite was there, which I didn't know about initially until I saw the pipe thing, that like this is a pipe. Got to see that. Got to see Dali. Got to see Van Gogh's self portrait. Got to see the
Oh
farmer and
yeah.
his daughter. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think we saw the Starry Night in New York too, which was awesome. Like, I don't know, it was just such a cool experience, and the tickets were like $30, like dirt cheap. Such a fun time.
Worth it.
Absolutely, always
Worth
go to your
it.
art museums. Take advantage of your art museums. Go all the time. Barbara says, "Love the Art Institute." I do too. We got about 3 minutes left on the clock for designing. I feel like we're making so much progress already, kind of really highlighting the power of these textures. Can we? I don't know if it's too much to ask, but can we see what the original skull looked like again? Is that
Oh yeah, of course.
because I
Let's
want
turn up
people
all
to
the
that may just be
layers.
popping in, like Robert. Robert, welcome to the show. Yeah, look at this, crazy, literally
This is the
completely different.
original. Yeah. And I was like, okay, let's just keep adding different things. This right here, I just made, and I was like, wait a
Yeah,
minute.
that's
I'm gonna have to
sick.
do a series. Yeah, we're gonna do a series of schools.
So sick. Delicate Type in chat says, went to that museum in like 2018, I think. I need to go again. Yeah. They had oh, this is crazy. They had what do you call it? New rotating-ish museum of miniature, like, interior
Hmm.
design, which was wild in Chicago. That was fun. Monica saying, if you ever visit London, they have so many incredible free museums. I would love to go to London. Adobe Max UK, London happening right now, I think. Could have been
Right.
there.
Yeah. That's why I love living in DC. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's something about all the free museums, even the ones I had to pay for. It's so worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Art Tech House is like very immersive, and it's a lot of like it's like they take the technology with art, and you just kind of
Yeah.
sit there and you just can watch it all around you, and it's just so
So
cool.
cool. I'm so jealous. Like I would say Calgary has some pretty beautiful art museums, but like I don't know, man. I had the Philadelphia Art Museum, like Rocky Steps, like at my fingertips at all times.
Classic.
And if anyone in the chat has never been to the Philadelphia Art Museum, my goodness, it is incredible. It's beautiful. So, yeah, what drop in chat. What's your favorite artist? What's your favorite classical general artist? And Shay, we've got about a minute left in the drawing portion of today's episode of Art is My Passion, or Design is My Passion. Is there any like final words of wisdom you want to leave with people for this segment in terms of making your logos, or logos, making your patterns and like, adding that to your work?
I would definitely say always be open to experimenting. And if your piece doesn't look, or if your piece doesn't look the way it started or not what you intended, it doesn't mean it's not bad. It means that it has a mind of its own and you might end up liking it as well.
Absolutely. You got to give it time to grow. You've got to give it time for energy. And what an amazing way to finish off this segment of the show so far. I think we've made some great progress. And now it's time for us to move into our next segment. Did you have a good time? Of course, Shay. I should ask that, you know.
Of course I did. Always.
I'm very, very glad. We actually have a few comments in chat that I want to highlight before we move into the next segment, which is let me change over our segments real quick. There we go. Monica saying Raphael was my favorite Ninja Turtle, and then I saw he was a painter, or saw the painter's work, and wow, I agree. That's so funny. Delicate type saying basic but Vincent van Gogh. I saw Starry Night as a kindergartner for the first time in a classroom and I loved it since. I mean, it's not basic. Vincent van Gogh is classic. Beautiful work. Yeah, literally in the background. And Ryan Selvey saying, hey Jacob, hey Shay, hey Ryan, thanks for popping by.
Hey.
You made it just in time for the last freaking segment of the episode, which is for future reference. So Shay, this section is all about you. This section is all about your work, your design, your flow. We're going to get a little more intimate, get to talk a little more about, what you do. And I have some questions actually lined up for you if you are ready for those. And we can kind of go in depth as much as we want or as little as we want.
Awesome. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Sweet. And we've got 25 minutes, so we got plenty of time to talk. So my first question for you, more of a statement. I love your print shop. We kind of brought it up in the beginning. I think it really highlights your diversity and your ability to work in like different programs and just like the skills that we kind of showed off today. So my question for you is, what's your most sold item on Etsy?
The most sold item. Um, Probably, that's a good question.
Might be a hard one.
I think it's either my under the weather rain, which is like a cloud and it's like raining on this
Mm-hmm.
woman, or it's my overthinking two print, or it's my blossoming within print. It's one of those three. Those are like my top three most popular ones.
Believe it or not, it's not. Your
Oh,
top
really?
sold one, believe it or not, I had to count a lot, is a Garden of Illuminance. That like
Oh,
special edition one.
really?
Yeah. There's like a
Wow.
ton of sales in the last like couple weeks. Or I should say months. And I started from the beginning, was counting up, and was kind of like, okay, this might throw them off. Because if I'm not mistaken, that design was created recently ish, right? Like kind of? Or maybe not.
Actually, 2022,
Okay, so it
2021,
had
around that
time.
time. Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Mo-
wow.
Monica asked, does Shay sell her work on Etsy? And you do. Do you want to kind of talk
Yes.
about that and that process of opening up that Etsy store?
Yeah, sure. So I know I keep bringing up college, but a lot of things happen in college.
Sure, sure, sure.
But I remember it was like my senior year of college, and I was selling my artwork on different of these like, these different websites that don't really pay you anything but cents. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who's selling my work. And I was like, I want to know who's selling my work and I want to make it my own. So I kind of went ahead and I started like, I didn't have a printer at the time. So I kind of just did like not a drop shipping, but it's like, I kind of used my own money to get a lot of prints and then I signed all of them and numbered them and then I just shipped them myself. That's what I did in
Yeah,
college and I've been doing that since. And it was honestly because I wanted to make it more authentically me and I also wanted to thank the people who bought my work because I never knew who did.
absolutely.
And Etsy was a perfect thing at the time to do it and it's just I love it because I can always I know who's buying my work. I know who's
Mm-hmm.
buying and collecting my art.
It
So
seems like you're having a lot of success over on Etsy too, from what I'm seeing, because I mean, you have a ton of sales and it seems like really good reviews and you have such a thick portfolio in terms of the amount of prints and things that you offer on your Etsy. Was that a challenge to work up to that point? Like how long did something like that take you?
I think I already built like a good audience on Instagram at the time. So I think this was
Hmm.
like 2021 is when I actually did it. So I've been doing this for it's been 4 years. It's kind of like a roller coaster because sometimes it's like the marketing part, but it's also like,
Yeah.
making sure I tell people I do have prints because people know a lot of people come back to buy more, but it's like to tell new people it's like how can I do that in ways that are, not annoying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You don't want to like overstimulate people like with
Yeah.
ad, but you also want to be relevant.
Yeah.
You want to stay in front of people's faces. I think that's been the biggest thing that I've struggled with as well with selling things is uh being like you should care about this, like you should care. Like I think that's why I like Patreon so much. I mean, I've been on Patreon for like past couple months doing like postcards and stickers, and it just feels a little more authentic to be like, hey, like you are receiving something for supporting me. Of course it's the same with Etsy, right? But like I don't feel like I'm doing these beautiful collage works like you are. Like I'm kind of like, look at this guy, look at this little guy, don't you want him? You know what I mean? So makes it
Yeah.
kind of hard. But Monica in chat saying Shay equals savvy business owner. You got the skills. You know what's going
CEO,
on.
CEO.
Love it. So I have another question for you, if you're ready for that. Unfortunately, we didn't get on the board with that last question, but that's totally fine. We're on the board with our points. We're crushing it right now. My question for you, again, starting with a statement, because that's how I phrase all these questions. You were featured in a magazine, which I think is very cool. It was called Color Block Magazine, issue number 8. That I thought that was nice, and you got asked some very deep questions, which I really appreciated. So I'm gonna see if you remember one of your answers on there. Who is your muse?
Um, I feel like I said myself.
Is that your answer? Is that your final
Yeah.
answer?
Yeah, that's my answer.
You did say yourself, and I love
Okay.
that. I seriously love that. I actually have the exact quote over here that says, I am my own muse. My artwork is a reflection of myself. And it wasn't until last year I realized that. Whether it's deep emotion, random thoughts running through my mind, or my own experiences, I subconsciously show it in my artwork. And I think at face value, saying that you are your own muse, people might take in a negative way. But I feel like that is so true to yourself, like truly true to yourself of I am creating what is reflected in my brain, that it's pretty dang admirable. You know what I mean? Like, is there like any, I don't know, I'm trying to think of how to word this question to kind of expand on this a little bit. Like, what made you like land on that point of like, have that self actualization of being able to kind of
Um,
be inspired by yourself?
I think that magazine interview was 2021. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to say 2020 is when I made my Floral Being series, which is like Blossoming Within is in that series. And that was a tough time for me. And I realized that tough time, I made something beautiful, and that's when I really like sat down and I realized like what I'm making is a reflection of things I can't even comprehend like in my mind. Like
Yeah.
I'm just pouring it out, and then once I go back and I look at what I make, I'm like, huh, I was feeling that at a certain point. Like even like overthinking too back then when I made that in like 2019, I was a big overthinker.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even think, I mean, obviously it's called overthinking too, but that's
Yeah.
how I felt at the time. So it
Absolutely.
was like, wow.
It's so funny that you mentioned it that way of like the snapshots in time, because I feel that way about music so much, like music and art and film. Like I know this doesn't sound relevant, but chat, hear me out. This is ADHD brain going crazy. So when it comes to like art, I definitely feel like you're snapshotting a point in time that is reflective of your mood, your feelings, your whatever. Even if it's a cartoon or if it's a beautiful like Van Gogh piece, that is how you felt, and you're depicting an emotion. And it is other individuals' jobs to interpret that emotion and take from that what they get, right? And I think that same with music. I find that so fascinating to be like able to look at something and like essentially create a time capsule in time. Like this is where I was when I was recording this. This is where I was when I was uh, you know, writing these lyrics or writing these parts or whatever. Like it it really shows like a snapshot of your mindset. But with art, it's a little more personal, which I think is kind of fun, right? Like you can kind of hold that close to your heart and say, "This is what I meant," but like, please take it however you want.
Yeah.
So,
Like art is very vulnerable, and that's something I had to come to terms with, like being okay with, because it's just like I don't need y'all to know how I'm feeling right now, but it's like I have
mm-hmm,
to put it out here.
mm-hmm, absolutely. And funny enough, this is a little off topic, but just dropped in the Discord. Ryan, thanks for the reminder. We also are dropped in the chat. A little spoiler. We have a Discord. We have an Adobe Live Discord, which is really nice for all of our um, community shows, for art maxing, for making decisions, for a bunch of stuff. And you should join it. It's a ton of fun. We have conversations like this all the time. It's gonna be a blast. You'll be able to see some finished work from Shay potentially, which will be a ton of fun. Pop in there. It's a good way to keep up with the show and not have to see me blasted on my timeline every single week. So yeah, a little less annoying than you can turn my notifications off. But I have one more question for you, Shay. We still got a bit of time, about like 15-ish minutes. So we can definitely kind of lay on this a little bit and talk about, your design process and your naming process, because we have a lot of art to highlight.
Yeah.
Um, which is, yeah, one of my favorite things about you is your artwork. And the way that you title your artwork, I feel like definitely describes where you're at in the moment, like we were talking about before, as well as it really like describes the piece. So we're gonna play a little game of two truths and a lie. So two of these are going to be names of artwork. Oh, this is fun little Mac effect. Two of these are going to be names of artwork that you have named on your page, and one of these is going to not be. Easy as that. So you just have to tell me which one is not, and you'll get a point. And you know what? I'll even do 2 points because it's two opportunities.
Okay.
So title number one, Stellar Goddess. Title number two, Honesty. Title number three, Sonder.
I'm sorry, this is so easy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Honesty, honesty
You
is
nailed it. Yeah, yeah, it is. It's definitely an easier question, and I'll throw 2 points on the board for you. But I don't know. It shows that you care about your work. It shows that you pay attention to every single title of design that you put out there, which for the unseasoned is is a very big feat. You have like 120 pieces.
yeah, it's okay. It's when I need to find the title is when I forget, but you saying it, it's like I definitely said that one. Yep, I definitely named something that like I just knew,
Mm.
but do I know the piece? Yeah, I can see it in my mind, but I never did honesty. Now
Yeah.
I would remember that.
it
I would
feels it
remember that.
it feels right, right? Like, if you know it, like
Yeah.
it'll feel very right. If you don't, then it's like, oh, it
Yeah.
feels very wrong. I
Yeah.
kind of want to talk about your creative process though a little bit and expand on that, like, because again, you've done so much work. And do you hold yourself to a standard where you're like, I have to create X amount of pieces a month or X amount of pieces a year? Or do you just find yourself inspired and you create when you're inspired? Do you just force yourself? Like, what does that process look like for you?
My process over the past 5 years actually has been very interesting because I used to create when I first started, like I created all the time. Like there was no objective. It was like there was no meaning to anything. It was just I was making stuff, and then later on is when I realized there was meaning to what I was making. But I think around 2022, 2023 is when I really started getting more into I don't want to say get into my head, but I became more intentional with
Mm-hmm.
with what I was creating, and I think that slowed me down from making a lot of art because I think in 2020, around that time, it was a hard time for everybody. I made like 100 pieces that year because that was my
It's
outlet,
a lot.
and then from going from 100 to like 10 pieces in a year, I'm like, something wrong with me? I'm like, no, it's just my intentions changed. And then this year I realized I can combine both of those things and I can make series of pieces and take longer with those, but I can also make pieces that will take me like 2 days. So I
Yes.
do both now.
I think that's like the ultimate artist crutch, right? Is like intentionality versus fun versus um inspiration. Like, you're playing this balancing act. Like, the best way to describe like art, and especially freelance, like if you do this for a living, is like it's like you're walking on this tightrope, right? And you have 100-pound dumbbell that says like money, and then you have 100-pound dumbbell that says fun, and you're just like, one of these can absolutely derail me at any point in time, can kill me, like, like take me totally off this tightrope and be like, I'm gonna go work at a different job now. I'm stopped freelancing, but you're kind of playing this balancing act, and the further you get across that rope, the more fulfilled you feel, the more gratified you feel. Actually, I like this comment. Funny enough, for my mom. I promise I didn't put her on to say this. This is good though. My uncle, her brother, is an artist. He's a classical painter, and he said the only thing. This is a quote from him. The only thing you can teach a person is vision. And I think that's very, very good point. My mom also wanted to mention you have that, and it's amazing. So you definitely have a
Thank
vision,
you.
and it's very clear in your work, right? Like, it's very clear when you talk about your process of creating and expressing yourself and putting yourself out there with your work. Are there any projects that really kind of like set in stone for you and felt like things, I don't know, just like fell into place? Like, is there anything like that? Any opportunities that are
Um,
coming or that have happened already?
I think a lot of my partnerships from the past, like my Mercedes-Benz partnership,
That's crazy.
um, that one was really cool because it was that's when I kind of really understood that my visions, like even like my first pick, like my first pick will be their first pick, because sometimes I'd be
Hmm.
like, I don't know if they'll like it, but I'm like, if I give them options, they end up picking the one I wanted. I'm like, oh, I should have just sent that one instead of sending, five different things, because
Right.
like I became more comfortable like knowing that like this is my vision, and you're gonna like it because I like it, because if I don't
Hmm.
like it, you're probably not gonna like
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Absolutely. I kind of want to talk about that since we have like about 2 or 3 more minutes left. What did that Mercedes Benz collab, or just Mercedes, not Benz, but Mercedes collab, like, what was that like? Because that is crazy. It's a
It
crazy
was
collab.
honestly, it was so cool because it was like a two-part thing. They were promoting their new EQS, but they wanted to like they were doing like artist segments, so they're like,
Yeah.
highlighting artists. So my goal was to create three different pieces for their EQS, and I kind of like did a rundown of like what is an electric car? Like how do I serialize this, make it
Hmm.
my own, and then that's why I did a lot of like different research for myself. And then another part was to basically do like a behind the scenes of me working on the art, doing an interview about myself. And that I love that about it, because they kind of, it wasn't just about the EQS, it was about me. And they
Hmm.
highlighted me as an artist. And I think a lot of paid partnerships that I do, like that's why I love what I do, because they always somehow highlight me as an individual, and not just like, it's like we're working together and not just I'm doing something for them. It's like they want to highlight me as an artist, and I love that.
Absolutely. And I feel like they did a great job of that in the video that you posted to your Instagram. Like, and you should definitely check out that collaboration, because it highlights you in a really amazing way. And it was very high quality, which is wild. Like, I don't know. It was just a great way to highlight artists in a time where I feel like it's the most important, right? Like, we need this. We need to be highlighted. We need support, and sharing that with other people, or sharing that with communities, and being a part of communities is the easiest way to do that, and getting more faces on you, uplifting your friends while uplifting yourself. And Monica in chat saying, I'm surprised sometimes because people will love a piece that I feel meh about, or a post I barely put effort into will pop off, and then things I work hard on get no attention. That's very relatable. It's
It's very my life.
very, yeah, literally. Like, oh, the thing I did that took me like 15 minutes. Oh, y'all love it? Cool. All right. Well, see if I can capture that
Yeah.
genie in a bottle again. It's crazy. Absolutely
Yeah.
crazy. Well, Shay, I had an absolute blast with you today. I think this was an amazing episode. I do have to ask you a few more questions involving our second segment. First of all, we already asked, did you have a good time? And you said yes. So that's a point on the freaking board. We didn't technically make a mock up today, which is totally fine. We're working with patterns. We're just trying to highlight the work. And my final question is, did we finish the design? I would say yes. we highlighted everything we wanted to do. So I'll go ahead and throw another freaking point on the board for you for that one as well. And we got to tally up your final score, Shay. Are you ready? Is everyone
Mm.
ready? Does anyone have any guesses of what your final score is? Do
I
you want to
wish I was
guess?
keeping count.
Just throw a random
Is
number.
it 10?
Let's see. I'm gonna run the final numbers, crunching the numbers. Drum roll. You're close. It was 8.
Oh, eight.
Nice, nice, nice. 8 points on the frickin' board. You nailed it. This was a super exciting episode of Art Maxing, and you showed us a lot. We learned a lot about you too. I thought that was like you have such a unique story and such an amazing
Okay.
way of expressing yourself. Do you want to let us know where we can find you if you have anything coming up, any relevant links, anything like that?
Yeah, sure. My Instagram is SNW all day. My website, everything is on my Instagram like link in my bio, but you can go to my link tree or snwvisuals.com is all of my art, all of my portfolio. You can see everything I ever made before on there as well. And then my Etsy shop is also in my link in my bio if you want to buy a print. They're on sale. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, go ahead and follow.
Sweet. Whoops. That's the second time that I've had this for future reference thing pop up. Sorry about that, guys. But yes, please check out Shay. Check out her shop. Check out her Instagram. And yeah, follow up because we're all friends here. We're all here to make friends. I'm sure your DMs are open to give any more advice past this show. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I am really excited for next week. We're back at it. Same vibe, different person. You know how it goes. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for popping by and spending your morning/afternoon/evening with us. Bye, guys.
Bye.